Dear friends, I am Father Mandra and I warmly welcome you to STR Meditation. Recently, one of our participants at the Bodhini Meditation Center asked a very insightful question. We want to sit in peace during meditation, but in STR we are guided to use a sacred sound. How can this be scientific? Will it not disturb inner calm? This question is deeply meaningful. At first, it may seem that using a sound in meditation contradicts the pursuit of inner silence. Many people assume that peace depends solely on the absence of external noise. However, neuroscience shows that both external sounds and internal sounds directly influence the nervous system. They shape our stress levels, emotions, and capacity for calm. In today's lesson, we will explore how sound interacts with the nervous system, how it affects both body and mind, and why the sacred sound used in STR is a scientifically grounded practice. To understand this fully, let's first look at the brain and the nervous system. The nervous system is the body's primary communication network. It coordinates cognition, emotion, movement, and automatic physiological functions. It consists of two main components. First, the central nervous system, CNS, which includes the brain and spinal cord. The CNS integrates information, formulates responses, and issues commands to the body. It functions much like a CEO overseeing all operations. Second, the peripheral nervous system, PNS, which comprises the nerves outside the CNS. The PNS transmits signals between the CNS and the organs, muscles, and sensory receptors. Within the PNS, peripheral nervous system, is a key subsystem called autonomic nervous system, ANS. The ANS regulates involuntary processes such as heartbeat, respiration, digestion, and emotional responses. The ANS functions automatically without conscious control. It has two main branches: the sympathetic nervous system, SNS, or fight or flight, prepares the body for immediate action. It increases heart rate, respiration, and blood flow to muscles, while crucial during emergencies or acute stress. Chronic SNS activation can lead to anxiety, hypertension, and fatigue. The parasympathetic nervous system, PSNS, or rest and digest, promotes physiological restoration. It slows the heart rate, deepens respiration, and supports healing and digestion. Activation of the PSNS is closely linked to meditation, relaxation, and exposure to positive or harmonious auditory experiences. Importantly, the type of auditory input we receive significantly influences ANS, autonomic nervous system activity. Unpleasant or chaotic sounds trigger the SNS, sympathetic nervous system, and elevate stress responses. In contrast, sacred or harmonious sounds stimulate the PSNS, parasympathetic nervous system, fostering calm, balance, and inner stillness. This illustrates why understanding the pathways and effects of sound on the nervous system is essential for cultivating true peace. Now let us see how sound travels through the body and mind. Sound begins as vibrations in the air. These vibrations enter the outer ear, travel through the ear canal, and reach the eardrum. The vibrations are then transmitted via the tiny bones of the middle ear to the cochlea in the inner ear. Inside the cochlea, specialized hair cells convert these mechanical vibrations into electrical signals. These signals travel along the auditory nerve to the brainstem and ultimately to the auditory cortex in the temporal lobe, where sound is interpreted. However, auditory processing does not stop at the cortex. Sounds influence multiple brain regions, including the amygdala, which processes emotions, the hippocampus, which handles memory, and the hypothalamus, which regulates hormones. Through these connections, sound also affects the autonomic nervous system, ANS, and the body's overall physiological state. We have seen how sound reaches the brain and is processed. Now, let's explore how external sounds from our environment influence the nervous system and how they can either promote calm or trigger stress responses. External sound and the nervous system. External sound, auditory stimuli originating from the environment, is inherently passive and unpredictable. The nervous system processes it not only in the CNS, central nervous system, but also through the PNS, peripheral nervous system, and ANS, autonomic nervous system. The effects depend on the nature of the sound. Positive or sacred sounds activate the PSNS, parasympathetic nervous system, promoting calm, emotional regulation, and healing. Toxic or unpleasant sound trigger the SNS, sympathetic nervous system, producing stress, tension, and potentially acute physiological responses. For example, hearing of a stranger's death may be processed intellectually, whereas the same information about a loved one can overwhelm the nervous system, triggering shock or collapse. To mitigate harmful external inputs, STR meditation emphasizes sacred distance. This involves curating our environment and sensory exposure to reduce stress and protect physiological balance. Internal sound, the default mode network, DMN. Even in the absence of external sound, the human mind is rarely silent. Neuroscience shows that the brain generates its own internal auditory phenomena, streams of thoughts, commentary, and memories through the default mode network DMN. This network includes the medial prefrontal cortex, posterior cingulate cortex, and angular gyrus. It is active during mind wandering and self-referential thinking. These internal sounds manifest as what we often call mental chatter. Left unchecked, they can disturb attention, create restlessness, and activate stress responses. Both external and internal sounds converge on the same neural pathways, influencing the ANS, autonomic nervous system, while external noise can be managed through environmental control. Internal noise arises spontaneously from the DMN. This requires active modulation. This overlap underscores the necessity of using intentional practices such as sacred sound in STR meditation to regulate neural activity. By doing so, we create a stable foundation for meditation and cultivate inner calm. Sacred sound in STR meditation serves as an intentional auditory stimulus. Unlike random external noise or spontaneous internal chatter, it provides a stable attentional anchor. It helps the mind remain engaged in the present moment. By repeating the sacred sound rhythmically, cognitive resources are less likely to disperse. The mind develops sustained attention. Over time, this practice facilitates entrainment of the nervous system, fostering physiological calm and focused awareness. The effects of sacred sound are mediated through both the central and autonomic nervous system, particularly via the vagus nerve. This enhances parasympathetic activity. Research indicates that regular practice leads to reduced cortisol levels, which mitigate stress responses, stabilized heart rate and respiration, promoting homeostasis, increased secretion of oxytocin and serotonin, supporting mood regulation and social bonding. Furthermore, repeated exposure to sacred sound harnesses neuroplasticity. It strengthens adaptive neural pathways and reduces overactive DMN circuits. Through these processes, the nervous system gradually achieves parasympathetic dominance. This allows the mind to reach profound stillness. In this sense, sacred sound is not a disturbance to silence, but a scientifically grounded method for revealing and maintaining inner quiet. Dear friends, STR teaches that silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the absence of inner conflict. Sacred sound is structured, rhythmic, and intentional. By transforming scattered thoughts into a focused rhythm, it converts inner noise into genuine stillness. Thus, sound in STR meditation functions as a bridge to true silence. It calms the brain, regulates the body, and opens the soul to its deepest inner stillness. We have seen how sound interacts with the nervous system and affects human physiology and cognition. External sound, depending on their quality, influence the autonomic nervous system, either activating stress or promoting calm. Internal mental chatter arises from the DMN and can similarly disrupt attention and well-being. In STR meditation, sacred sound is not a distraction from silence. It is a scientifically grounded bridge that transforms inner noise into true stillness by harmonizing the mind, body, and nervous system. In our next lesson, we will explore the neural power of the sacred word in STR meditation, specifically Jesus, Jesus, Jesus the way. Thank you.